Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and we have yet another fantastic puzzle for you today. Now, the name of the puzzle, I'm going to say the title of the puzzle is Squonk. Hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's not exactly something that I've come across before. And you may be wondering, what is a squonk? To be fair, I wondered exactly the same thing myself, and apparently a squonk is a mythical creature that's been spotted in northern Pennsylvania. Very specific lookup. Now, it is meant to look something not dissimilar to this. Maybe less fairy, more scaly, but kind of along that line. It seems to be drawings of it seem to be indicating that this is roughly its size. And I'm kind of wondering, why is this particular puzzle named after it? And we will discover this together. So let's take a look at the rules and today's puzzle. We have Squonk by Abdul the Killer. Now, the bit that excites me is the anti-night part, which we'll take a look at in a second. But shading, cells containing values exactly one greater than an immediate neighbor, diagonal or orthogonal within their box, are shaded. All the shaded cells are given. Now, this is pretty unique rule. I don't think I've really come across this before, or we've not featured a video about it before in the channel. But imagine for a second that this is a 3. It means that somewhere near in there, is it? It doesn't even have to be a shaded cell. That somewhere in here, in these cells surrounding the 3, so it's either orthogonally connected or even diagonal, is a 2. I think, whatever ends up being in the center, you can pretty much guarantee, unless it's a 1, I shouldn't be solving this right now, I should be just explaining the puzzle. You can pretty much guarantee you'll find somewhere connected to it is kind of a digit that is one less, exactly one less than it. So if that's a 3, somewhere around here is a 2, kind of fairly appropriate. Now, the interesting part as well is it says negative constraints apply. All the shaded cells are given. So whatever the digits are in here, let's say that's a 3 again, it means 2 is nowhere near here, and 2 would be down there, for example. Let's try that again. 2 would be down here. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So anti-night. And I absolutely love night-based Sudoku variants. So cells that are a night's move apart cannot contain the same digit. So let's continue with our example here of the 3. It means that none of these, which is a knight's move apart, so remember in chess, a knight will move 2 forward, 1 to the side, can also do 1 to the side and 2 forward. So all of these are essentially not allowed to be this 3 here. We have KROPKI dots apply, so cells separated by white dots are consecutive in value, and again negative constraints apply, all the white dots are given. This is, with so many negative constraints, anti-night, this is going to prove to be a bit of a challenging puzzle, I suspect. And then lastly, we have otherwise standard Sudoku rules apply. So that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Now, I don't know about you, but it feels like we're just not given enough information. Somehow we're going to have to wrap our minds around this shading, because that really seems to be the bulk of information right now. Until we actually place some digits down, I don't know if we're really going to be able to go much further. Well, if you are up for finding the squonk, if you're up for solving this puzzle, link will be in the description down below as per usual. And if otherwise, let me restart this clock and see how I get on. Wish me luck. I feel like I'm going to need it today. Now I'm gonna do this one. As I was explaining the rule sets, I was saying that really any digit in here would be absolutely fine, because it will always be sort of in the center of the box. It will be absolutely fine because by definition it will be something near it. in the box, that will be one less. Now, clearly, the one exception here is a 1 because nowhere around it is there going to be a 0 found. So that's one. This one's for free. And then I'm stuck. Maybe the shaded cells are less interesting than the white cells, just like the one here. Yeah, here's a bit of logic. I think the 1 can only ever occur in a non-shaded cell purely because nothing is going to be less than 1. So almost by definition, 1 has to be in an unshaded cell. And in general, the unshaded cells are going to gravitate towards lower digits. For example, let's try the polar opposite, the polar extreme in here. And 9, no, I don't think this is true. It's not that it's greater than all the cells. It's true for 1, not true for 9. At least it's true for the center digit. So actually, you're going to have to scratch my statement earlier. I don't think it's absolutely guaranteed that the 1 has to be on an unshaded cell. Let me give you an example. No, it has to be on an unshaded cell because nothing around it is going to be, yeah, that's fine. So it applies for 1 because, again, if I have a 1 and, yeah, that's a bad example, but if I put a 1 in here, it means that there is a 0 somewhere around it. That's just nonsense. So 1 is absolutely true. Now, the same is not true if I try and place a 9, let's say in here. That's fine because as long as there isn't an 8 around here, you see cells containing values exactly 1 greater than an immediate neighbor, diagonal or orthogonal within their box, are shaded. So all that's saying is there's an 8 in no 8s around it. 8s could be somewhere else in the box. So 9s can actually be unshaded. This is really not very helpful. Just having a think around. I don't know if you've ever seen some of those magic Sudoku variants where, between knight, anti-knight, and anti-king constraints, you can shockingly get away with solving puzzles relatively easily. And we almost have a very similar interplay here. Almost, not quite. So essentially what I've just blocked is, where are all the places that 1 cannot be? I think I am going to do this. I am going to do this and basically say 1 can be in these blue cells. And just have a think about it to see if there are, for example, if I place a 1 in here, well, 1 sees all of these cells. This one is already not available. This is not available because of this one here, the anti-knight move. This is also not available. Where would I place a 1 in box 8? And you can immediately see that's a problem because I would have to put it on a shaded cell where we've already demonstrated that's not possible. So I think I'm onto the right track here by thinking about 1s. 1 is now in one of these 2 cells and therefore in none of these. I like where this is going. I'm going to follow this path a little bit more. See, it's tempting to say that won't be allowed, but this could be a 1, this could be a 1. There's nothing wrong with that. Wow, This is getting a bit ludicrous. Let's try a 1 in here. If I put a 1 in there, no problem for box 5. I just have to place a 1 in here. It removes the 1s, forcing a 1 to be in here, where it can't be because of knight's move. So this is starting to get quite involved now. So I can't place a 1 in this square. I'm down to 2 options again. I'm down. So we know that there is a 1 in one of these two. I don't know, I'm going to indicate that, but let's just say green. It's not really very helpful. Kind of is, actually. Now, whichever one it is, we know that this is not an option anymore. These two aren't. So the blues are actually kind of restricted in both of these. Again, I'm going to highlight them as green as we have to have 1 in there. Yeah, see, that 1 is a problem. It eliminates all the options, again, because of knight's move in box 4. So that's not possible either. Same here. This square eliminates all of these options. In general, with essentially what I'm doing here, you just need to pay attention to kind of cells on the border, because they have, with knight's move, tremendous reach into the other boxes. Place it here, eliminates this as an option. In fact, let's just try this. I'm going to model this out. If there's a 1 in here, this is not an option. This is not an option. It has to be in there. In fact, I think here's another square that's not an option anymore, because it eliminates both of these. But let's continue with this example. I think this also breaks, because essentially I can't place a 1 in here. I'm forced to. Remember, I had to place one of these two in there. Now take a look at this. I've broken box 6. So this is not an option either. And because there's nothing left in row 3 that's an option except this one, this is where we have to place it. Wow, this is much tougher than I was expecting. Well, I don't know if it's tough is the right word, but it is a lot more involved than I was expecting. You can see now we're left with a 1 in here on this row, eliminating all of these options. Yeah, now this is going to start falling pretty quickly. Yeah. I mean, it's not helpful, but I will take any digits I can get right now. Are any of these particularly awkward? I mean, it forces 1, 2, and 3. I don't think 1, 2, and 3 here is possible. So if I put a 1 in there, that's a 2, that's a 3. Now, remember, the 2 is in a shaded cell, which means I need to have a 1 in the same box, mind you. That's the rule. A value exactly 1 greater than an immediate neighbor, diagonal or orthogonal within the box are shaded. So it means that there is a 1 somewhere in these 2 cells, because that's a 3. Or even if it was a 1, it doesn't matter. Then we end up with a 1 on a shaded cell, and therefore that breaks again. So this is not 1, 2, 3. This is the 1. That's not a 1. That's a 1. And that's the remaining 1. This is incredibly complicated. I feel like we need to continue to go up from here. Now, here is another piece of logic. When ones are in the center, in the same box, the 2 absolutely will see it, and therefore the 2 must be on a gray cell. So we can actually immensely restrict the 2 by saying they're in there. It has to be. And the same is true of there. There is a 2 in here. Again, it has to be. You know, the 2 cannot escape the 1 in these boxes. It just doesn't feel like a tremendous amount of progress, really. What we do know as well is the 2's cannot be in a white cell adjacent to the 1. So none of these can be 2. Yeah, this can't be. So I wonder if it's time to try the same trick, but with coloring where the 2's could go and paying once again attention to anti-knights moves. So 2. Oh wow, box 1. Let's really pay attention to box 1 now. So 2 could be in one of these 2 cells because they both see the 1 and they're shaded. That's one possibility. Couldn't be in here because the 1 is not adjacent. Couldn't be in there because it would have to be shaded. Couldn't be in there because 1 is nowhere near it. And only these 2 can now be 2's. Incredible. Because they're unshaded and they're not near a 1 in the same box. Now, if you take a look at rows 2 and 3, we've placed the 2 now. We now know that the 2 has to be in the top row in box 2. We've eliminated row 2 and 3 with these blue cells. It can't be this because 1 is too far away. So 2 is somewhere in here. Wow. I mean, I think, you know, grab a coffee, strap in. We're going to be here a while by the looks of this puzzle. I may even have to take a break myself and grab lunch and then come back to it. And I'm sure we have, again, very similar interplay with anti-knights move, etc. Right, so we said the 2 cannot be in cells that are in unshaded cells next to the 1. They can be here, can't be there, can be here. So let's just color some of these, and it can be in all of these. Very weird shape. Yeah, it's just the problem with these weird shapes is there aren't many knight moves that will kind of eliminate all of these shapes in once. So yeah, can't be, can't be, can't be, and these can be, and these were unshaded, they can be. Now, this cannot be anymore because of knight's move. Essentially, we'll see all of these and essentially leave no room for a 2 in box 9. Lovely if we can eliminate a few more, but not quite. So none of these or these. These are all the options for a 2, which you can see is now again forcing the 2 to be in only 2 cells now. I'm willing to corner pencil mark this now, which I think eliminates both of these. You see, if it's a 2 is in here, can see this with normal Sudoku rules and this one with knight's move, and the reverse is true. So neither of these can be a 2 anymore. Wow. I mean, the construction that Abdul must have gone on to be able to create this is just ridiculously intricate. So that's no... We've got this odd T shape in here of 2s. No. Yes, yes, and yes. We've got a very strange sort of Tetris-like shape there. Right. Some more knight's move, surely. You know, it'd have been lovely if this was shaded. That would have eliminated a lot of options. I'm going to say this can't be because it sees all of these. It sees this with knight's move. It sees this with knight move. It's not that. This may take a while, just trying to make sure that I have truly eliminated all the options of anti-knight moves. So if I place a 2 in here, that would be a 2. This would be a 2. It sees all of these. This would be a 2. 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 And we'd have unresolved 2s in here, but you know, both of these would be fine. So nothing wrong if I place a 2 in here, nothing breaks. If I place it in there, so we've got this, this. That breaks. Let me try that again and sort of show you. So if that's a 2, you can see that eliminates this. This ends up being a 2. This ends up being the other 2 in box 9. Now we've sort of forced to place a 2 in here. And what would we do with box 4? Because Sudoku rule says, so none of these. And that's within knight's move of this 2. No, I must be onto the wrong path here. There's no way that this is a low difficulty rating and I'm having to solve it in such a complicated way. This feels totally fine. I mean, it eliminates this as an option because the 2 is now forced in here and this cell will see all 3. So it'll be between these 2. Yeah, we're left with loads of options. Actually, the 2 would be here. Because it can see both of these with knight's move. Let's just continue this a bit longer. All of these are fine. I'm going to say all of these are fine, incredibly. This isn't. Both of these are fine. And all of this is fine. I mean, not that. We knew that. And then that's kind of the shape we're left with. I just don't see any issues with any of that. Am I going to have to sort of just keep systematically testing everyone? I mean, that just doesn't seem right. So that would eliminate, so that would force a 2 in here because regardless of which 2 I pick, they both see it. This sees this and this. No, it doesn't. That's not true. That was an incorrect statement. I couldn't pick this 2 though because it sees both cells. So it'll be 2, 2, 2. It eliminates quite a few options here. 2. Not this 2. This 2. And it breaks. Wow. How do I just show you this easily? I think essentially what I've highlighted, you can see with this 2, I eliminate this as an option. This has to be a 2. Knight's move forces this to be a 2. Not that it matters, actually, it doesn't matter. Box 2 is not pertinent. But this 2 sees all of these, and this 2 sees this cell, and it breaks. So this is not a possible option for a 2. This is, and we can do a bit of tidy up. Not a lot of tidy up, mind you. What was under here? Do I really have to go to 3 to sort of finish this up? Surely not. Let's try, you know, this just heavily restricts the option. So if I go with a 2 here, that's a 2, that's a 2, that's a 2. I'm left with 2s in here, 2 in there, 2s in here, and 2s in here. So that's actually fine. Surprisingly. Yeah, I'm a little bit blind. These can go. This can go. I mean, this one feels quite unlikely. Feels like it sees a lot of cells. So we'll be forced into sort of this pattern. Which, as you can see, is not at all problematic. So what about this one? Yeah, really places almost no constraints other than it's not in here. But very open-ended otherwise. This is too far to matter. I think this, you know, before I move on from 2s, which I may have to do shortly and start taking a look at 3s, unfortunately. What am I? There's just too many blues in close proximity here for my liking. Feels like I should be able to eliminate something. So if that's a 2, we know that's not a 1, that's 3 and 4. Maybe the KROPKI dot is here to save me. Let's try that. That's 3. Actually, no, it can't be a 2, that's not blue. So that has to be a 4. But I still need a 2 next to the 3, and both of these are gone. So yeah, use the KROPKI dot. It's clearly required. Now, if this is a 2, neither of these are. I'm sure I've already done this before. That's not a problem. This would force one of these, one of those, one of these, one of these, one of those. Yeah. This is as small as we're going to make it. Can I eliminate this one at all? Short answer is also no. I'm afraid it's going to have to be 3s now, which I'm not delighted about because, you know, I can't really see what's shaded and what isn't. So I am going to have to do loads of corner pencil marks now. Remove all the blues so I can actually see where the 3s can go. Now, all of these can be 3. All of these can be 3. That's just not helpful. Am I missing something else? Do I need to be thinking about these KROPKI dots a little bit earlier? Because I'm definitely struggling with thinking around how is this possibly a 1-star difficulty rating? I'll go for it. You know, maybe you just need to persist with this a bit longer before it just all falls into place. So if there is a 3 in here, it's restricted to this shape. If there is a 3 in there, I mean, all of these are possibilities. These are possibilities. If I put a 3 in here, that's a possibility. That's a possibility. The only cell I haven't highlighted is this 2 and this 1. I'll continue this a bit longer, but I may just chalk this up as a failure without the possibility of moving forward. Clearly not an option. Right, 2 is in all of these. You see, once it's sort of beyond 2 digits, very tough. Very tough. Also fine. Right, welcome back, everybody. I just took a bit of a break, as I was suggesting earlier, because I think I really needed to refuel the mind, so to speak, and just rethink my approach to this puzzle, because I like how it worked out for the 1s, and I enjoyed the fact that I restricted the 2s. But I went down this tangent where I thought this felt almost like insanity, really, if I'm honest. Because if you think about the 3s, so I'm starting in box 6 because this is the only way where I've actually placed the 2. All of these could be 3, legitimately. Let's take a look at box 9. All of these could be 3. Box 8. These 2 could be. This one absolutely could be. Yeah. Yeah. And you just end up with, essentially, a grid that's covered in blue, and it's just, that can't be the right path. You know, I refuse to believe that anyway. So I think what I need to be doing is rethinking the approach here and try and find a new way. And maybe the new way is thinking about the geometry of these shaded cells, because they are very restricted. They are very restricted. I can't imagine there are many ways of filling box 1, for example. Let's just have a reread of the rules and see how, if I've really got the gist of this puzzle. Because I feel like even getting these ones was a lot of hard work. This didn't feel like a 1-star difficulty puzzle. So I'm clearly missing something here. Right, shading cells containing values exactly 1 greater than an immediate neighbor, diagonal or orthogonal within their box are shaded. That's what we've been working with all along. All the shaded cells are given. Cells and knights move apart cannot contain the same digit. Yep, we've been using that extensively. Now, cells separated by a white dot are consecutive in value. All the white dots are given. All the white dots are given. Look at this. That couldn't have been a 2. That would require a KROPKI dot. Let's quickly tidy this up. This is a bit embarrassing now. This is quite embarrassing, I'm going to say. Cells separated by a white dot are consecutive in value. White dots don't have the same restriction about being across boxes. Wow. Well, I guess that's maybe the lesson for today. If you get stuck, take a break. You're probably missing something obvious. And once we figure that out, yeah, this is quite embarrassing. Sorry about that. Let's have a think around where 3s can go now, because I feel like, here's an example, 3s couldn't be in any of these. Because if it is, it's got to be a white KROPKI dot next to it. So 3s are in these. Can't be in any of these. 3 could be here. Couldn't be in these white cells because they conceded to. Couldn't be in there. And again, can't be in there because if they're orthogonal, they would have to be connected with a white dot. This is a 3. No, 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 no. Yes. No, no. 3. That's not a 2. It's got to be a 2 or 4. That's a 4. That's not a 3. That's a 5. 4 is greater than 3. 3 is greater than 2. 2 doesn't see the 1. We're off and racing. Where else can 3s go? Let's have a think about this. Sorry, give me a moment. Just had an alert suggesting that the car is not locked, and that is indeed the case. I didn't lock the car once we went out for lunch. Clearly, it was a very extended break, as you can tell. So let me just make sure that's locked. And continue back with this solve. So the 3 could be here. No, I mean, I don't want to go down paths like this where this couldn't be a 3. This couldn't be a 3. Yes, no, yes. No, no, no. Okay. So no. Also no, also no. It's actually a lot more restricted than it may seem. No, no, no. Yes. And yes. Sudoku. That's a no. Which also means these are no. 3 has to be in here. The fact that there's a 2 somewhere in there, both of these are a yes. That's kind of like a maybe. It would mean that the 2 would have to be in here. So all of these are a maybe. That's the only remaining box I haven't touched, isn't it? No, no, no. Sees both of these. No, no. Kind of yes, dependent on where the 3 is. Because that could be 3 and that would be a 2. That's fine. 3, 2, 3, 2. All of these are fine. Let's do a bit of anti-knight then. I assume from here. This 3, whoops, that was a no. So these 3 are obvious. I think that's pretty solid. Is there this 3? Look at that. I'm missing some fairly obvious things now. I think that's often the case with anti-knight constraints. Once you sort of get a few done, the puzzle collapses very quickly, a lot more quickly than you may imagine. So both of these see this cell. That's a no. That's a no. That's a no. That's a 3. That's the 3. And now we're left with these 2 pencil marks. Corner pencil marks, I should say. Kind of as much as we've done with the 2s. So on to 4s we go. We're done in box 1. These are all no, 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 no. Yep. No. Yeah, sorry. That's a no. That's a yes. No. Yes. Might need to start coloring again. Hang on, let's just quickly do this. That was all no. 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 Forcing the 4 down here. This is a yes. This is a yes. These are all no's. This is a no. These are all no's. That's a no. These are 4s. We're looking down here. That's a yes, because it sees 3s, depending, obviously, if this is a 4, this is a 3. If this is the 3, this is the 4. It can't be orthogonal. Again, no white KROPKI dot. Here's a bit of logic. It couldn't be in either cell because both of these are connected to the 3. So with this eliminated and this eliminating these 3, the 4 is down here. And therefore not there, not there, not here where it sees the 3, not here where it doesn't, but one of these. And that's all the 4s kind of colored out. What can I eliminate with knight's move is the question. There you go. That's a 4. That's a 4. 4. Not as useful this time round. Both still seem plausible. Same here. I'm surprised it's still so open-ended, if I'm honest. 5s. Couldn't be there because of the knight's move. Hang on, I didn't think about cross boxes, did I? This 3 is not possible. It would need to have a white KROPKI dot. That's a 3. That couldn't be a 4, therefore this is the 4. 4. Not 4, not 4. 4. Can't be a 3, that's the 3. Cross white KROPKI dots. Come on, that's 3 is there. That can't be a 2. There we go. Better. Much better. Right, we were talking about 5s now. None of these can be a 5. 5 is up here. This couldn't be a 5 because it's not near a 4. That's 5. This one of these is 5. Clearly not the white. I think we've got this now. It's taken a while. But we've got it. So all 9 5s. 6s. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. That's a 6. Six could be here. Both of these could be 6. Neither of these could be. 6 is up here. Couldn't be next to the 5. That's the 6. We checked. Yep, for KROPKI dots. That's a no. That's a yes. So I'm being quiet now. It's the kind of thing where a mistake here, as you can see, because each digit is the next one up, can so easily cascade. Yes, yes, no. Yes, no. Both of these are good. It's going to be a 7 because of the knight's move. Yes, no. Both of these are good. Am I missing something that's preventing this? So they're not orthogonally connected to a 6. They both see the 6 and they're both shaded. Neither sees the 6. Neither are connected orthogonally to a 6, requiring a white KROPKI dot. No knight's move constraints stopping any of them. Okay, that's all right. Let's go with 8. That's got to be the 8, the 9, 8. Therefore, this is a 7-9 pair. It's all right. I'll pencil mark this later if I have to. I think we're pretty much at the home stretch now. And that's the last piece of the puzzle. Wow. Yeah, so it has got, yeah, I would agree with the 1 star rating. It is a tough puzzle, but it's a very logical puzzle. I think it may be more appropriate to call it a 2 star rating because I think trying to find these ones almost out of thin air did require quite a bit of thinking to sort of put that through. And then just paying attention to the rules. I think whenever I get stuck, it's almost always down to just not interpreting the rules closely enough and just realizing that shaded cells really have to be diagonal. It's not, can't be orthogonal, otherwise they need KROPKI dots. Once you sort of crack that part and remember that constraint, it all falls apart very quickly. It's a phenomenal creation, Abdul the Killer. I can't even imagine how he went about coming up with the rule sets, constructing this puzzle, and having it work so well that it has a unique solution. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Really looking forward to reading the comments, given how much I sort of struggle bust through this one. Hopefully, some of you found it a lot easier than I have, and looking forward to it. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.